Welcome back, guys, people. This is part 3, the third video in a series I'm doing to explain all of the flat earth system connected to the religion, where all the religious stories come from, basically, the divine season through man's enlightenment. So I'm connecting Freemasonry, astrology, astronomy, the star Sirius, basically the meaning of the star Sirius and how it connects everything, draws everything together, and draws a lot of the mythological stories together, and I'm here to explain it all. So check out video 1 and 2, and we'll get straight into video 3, okay? So it's understanding the star Sirius. Why it's the dog star. This delves into the Jewett Anubis, the black dog, in ancient Egyptian mythological stories. But we're going to go over quite a few cultures and what they knew of it, and I'm going to explain what it all means. Something that's never been revealed before. Connecting a lot of stories. So, where shall I start? Well, let's start off with this image here. See this image here? Look at that. This formation. It's representing excuse me, 2 meanings there. One is the fish, and 2 the system going on in our flat earth system, which is basically the Milky Way as well. The Milky Way is the helix. And so the Milky Way comes over into the tropical gap, the dielectric gap of Earth. So you have to go back. You can't just watch this video without watching the first 2, okay? So we've got this image. Then it goes into the triple, the Trinity. Then it shows you the moon. Okay? So we have the fish, the helix, the Trinity, the moon in Pisces in particular, because that's the most divine story in all of religion. That's the Jesus story. It's told differently in different cultures, but that's the ultimate in man's awakening, his purpose in life. The whole Jesus story is an analogy of what's to come. And it's all to do with this season that I've explained in the earlier videos. So check that out. So we'll start here. Several cultures also associated the star, this is Sirius we're talking about, okay, with a bow and arrow. The bow and arrow is the alignment. And I've shown this in previous videos regarding the Milky Way, the 2 Milky Ways in the system, you see. I'll draw them separately. So you got the Milky Way coming like that. Probably can't show it very clearly there, but you have your southern field across the tropics, and then you have your northern field. Okay, so that looks like a bow to start with. But there's also another bow system, bow and arrow, and that's celestial as well. It's to do with the constellations and the alignment, and it delves into the arrow, which I hadn't spotted earlier on in my earlier videos, but it's coming clearer in this as I read more about Sirius. Okay, so they knew it as a bow and arrow. Many nations among the indigenous people of North America also associated Sirius with canines. Like I said, the dog on the lead. In Surrey and Tahona, or Odham of the southwest, note the star as a dog that follows mountain sheep. Now mountain, like, they use words that you have to think about, you see. Mountain. Over the mountain. You've got to imagine this as being the mountain which is man's arc of horizon. Up the mountain, on top of the mountain, this is man's mountain. This is the earthly mountain. And if you've seen my other videos, you'll understand that how the sun moves over the arc of horizon, and it's the furthest away from us, the sun, and it's associated with Saturn and the goat. What do goats do? They climb over mountains. So they're associating the divine period being on the mountain, because that is the top of your arc of horizon, meaning it's zenith to you. So it's at that point there is the divine alignment of the celestial bodies that we're going to delve into, okay? Star dog that follows mountain sheep, while the Blackfoot called it dog face. Dog face because Sirius is on the nose of the dog, you'll see in the constellations, which I might show later on. There's one old depiction, I'm not sure if you can see it, but the dog is right down there and Sirius is on its nose. But there are other images. If you go online, you'll find the Sirius is the nose of the dog, or dog facing. Got facing there, facing in the right direction. The Cherokee paired Sirius with Antares as a dog star guardian. Now it is a pair. We're going to get into this pair. I've mentioned it in the earlier video. You've got Sirius here on the horizon. On the opposite horizon we have Antares. Okay? Sirius is the blue star, Antares is the red star. Check out my earlier videos. As a dog star guardian of either end of the path of souls. Either end. Because this is the divine season. When Orion's belt comes through. Okay? The start of the season is when we see Sirius on the eastern horizon coming up, just prior to the divine season. It's the beginning of the divine season, and it's September. It starts in I forget that, it was September centralized, but it starts earlier than that. July, finishes in May. Okay, it's nine months long. The season is 9 months long. But the divine period is when this is at zenith. The Milky Way aligns at zenith and it passes around the earth. Check out earlier videos, but we'll get more into that later maybe. The path of souls, okay, because this all represents man's enlightenment. The whole religious story is in here. The Pawnee of Nebraska had several associations. The wolf skeeter, in brackets, tribe knew it as the wolf star, while other branches knew it as the coyote star. Coyote star, I'm drawing a picture here, but I don't know what a path of souls maybe, yeah. Hopi prophecy states, when the blue star, Kachina, Sirius, makes its appearance in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. So when Sirius emerges from the east, the start of the season, they're saying the fifth world will emerge. Now if you go delve into ancient Egyptian mythology, we have the divine 5 days. They say the 5 days that is the only 5 days the moon can give birth. That's spiritual enlightenment in the year. And then of course you've got the 360-degree ball, or circle I should say, of Earth. But you've got an extra 5 days, haven't you? It's all connected with that as well. But it's going deep, and I'm not going to break that down in this video. But it's heavenly. This period is a heavenly period, okay? Further north, the Alaskan Inuit of the Bering Strait call it moon dog. Your moon in this period for the Milky Way alignment. What they call the moon dog, because in this period, when the Milky Way swings around the Earth, it catches up and lays over the moon. This is the divine awakening, the divine alignment that the Freemasons know and don't tell you about. I'll put that in previous videos if you want to check those out. So it's just this alignment when you've got your moon sign. Remember, I'm the only one on earth who's told you this. The moon sign represents conception, not being born into the physical world. That is your sun sign. How you find your conception sign, a little bit of homework. You'll find it. Right. So, what have we got? Okay, well that's that page. The Dogon or Dogon describe, like dog, D-O-G, on, O-N, describe the star specifically as having a circle of reddish rays around it. And this circle of rays is like a spot spreading. So you've got to understand the words they throw in here, like a spot spreading. The gap, the separation, the spot spreading. This is spread apart. The tropical gap is spread. There's a gap here. The celestial gap, it's about this. Because we're going to delve into the duality, the dual system. Sirius one end, Antares the other. The whole world's a dual system. So we're going to get into this dual system. This system meeting this system. The northern hemisphere meeting the southern hemisphere. And it's separated, spread apart. Well, it's what's going on in this gap is the divine story. Hidden from us. Freemasons know all about it. So it says like a spot spreading but remaining the same size. This goes a bit deeper. This is, you could say that's staying the same size, but the sun that's in here, that will be represented by Sirius and Antares later on, if you can try and get the connection. It's to do with the two suns in each Milky Way, the alignment, staying the same size is due to the fact our man's arc of horizon, no matter from which horizon it's on, it stays the same size. There's the arc here, Antares or Sirius or vice versa. And this arc, whatever passes over it, which is your arc of horizon, that's how we see everything. Our own individual arc of horizon. Check out the earlier videos. Everything remains the same size. It's all coming back perpendicular off this arc to the observer, who is 90 degrees to zenith. The Dogon are a West African tribe who have known about and worshipped Sirius A and its twin, the invisible star. Okay? So they've known about this whole divine story. All the cultures knew about it. Antiquity knew the whole system. It's all been hidden from us because our Freemasons at the top have hidden it from you. Taken out of your education system, taken out of your churches. They want to be up there while you're down here in your dung gate. They're up here. They want to be your masters. You're their slaves. Okay? But then it says, so they worship Sirius A and its twin, the invisible star. Science is now calling it Sirius B, this invisible star. But these Dogons knew about it for the past 5,000 years. They have also been aware of the planets circle the sun in elliptical orbits. Total lies. They've fabricated this. This is science. This is online rubbish, okay? I'm trying to explain it all to you. Circle the sun in elliptical orbits because the planets do not do elliptical orbits. I've explained all that in the earlier videos. The 4 moons of Jupiter and the rings of Saturn. They would have known all that. But anyway, we go back here and they say Sagittarius A and its twin, the invisible star. So we're going to talk about Sagittarius, the visible star, this is tricky because there's a connection between the unseen, look, that end of the Milky Way, and this end of the Milky Way. So there's a connection in this one end to the other between the Milky Way, you see. So you could say this is Sagittarius A, what we see, but we don't see the other end back in creation, beyond the event horizon. So we're basically going to be talking about the two ends of the Milky Way, okay? Understanding the differences. One's seen, one's not. Very complicated. Okay, I'll plot on. Hopefully I'll get it all out to you guys by the end of the videos, this series. So anyway, science is calling it Sagittarius B. So they're trying to include the binary system. They're trying to tell you that Dogons understood the binary system of Sirius, but no, they're not referring to that. They're not talking about that. They're talking about that star and where the other end is, what it's connected to, which is, we see it in our realm, but we do not see the other end. Wait till we get to the next video or two. You're going to be blown away if you can associate them all together. They say that Sirius B is immensely heavy, invisible. They say that, yes, Sirius B is invisible, because it's in there, is immensely heavy, invisible, very small, yet extremely powerful. Because the centre of creation in here is very powerful. That's the northern hemisphere and the dead centre. All the energy is compacted in here. That's why it's so strong. All the energy in this northern hemisphere is equal to all the energy around here. This is why science tells you the magnetic fields are equal. Well, they don't tell you the whole story. They haven't told you the magnetic cycle, what it does, how it's connected with phi and alpha and all that. They're just telling you they're equal. But no. In this whole system, a magnetic field is a 2 to 3 ratio to start with in one cycle. That's just one cycle. But that cycle's infinitely all around here. So overall, this energy is the same as that, but that's condensed. Look how strong it would be, condensed in the centre here. Place of convergence. While its other half is out here spread out. This is why it's called the cattle in the Bible. And the beast. The beast is in there. Right. The understanding of the two stars' orbits coincide exactly with modern astronomy findings. No, because they're trying to associate with the binary, the dual star in this system down here. They weren't interested in that. They just know that's the bright star, meaning a certain thing. And then you've got Antares, meaning another thing. Or the other end, the dark side. It was arrived at thousands of years before scientifically proven. They also claim that the third star, Emma Ya Sorghum female, exists in the Sirius system. Now while we bring female into it, because this divine period here, man's awakening, is the story of creation, and his story of creation is finding his other half, his spiritual half. So because the whole godly thing is designed for man, is about man, he receives his female entity. His spiritual, non-physical female entity comes into him and makes him whole. His male and female have come together and created singularity. That's divinity. That's the whole story of religion, the ultimate. It's the prize, the meaning to life. So this is why they've connected it with the female, you see. Exists in the Sirius system. Larger and lighter than Sirius B, the star revolves around Sirius A as well. So around Sirius A, that's BS, the science version, okay? Forget that. The Dogon also believed that approximately 5,000 years ago, amphibious gods called Nommo came to Earth in three-legged spaceships from the Sirius star system. Sirius star system is this system. They talk about the three. There's three, Orion's belt. But there's also the whole Trinity, religious Trinity story. And it comes to Earth at this period, which means it's the divine awakening. It comes upon man in this divine period. There's no aliens from out of our realm. No, they are God-like people, consciously elevated. Three-legged spaceship from Sirius star system. They've described perfectly the DNA pattern. Yeah, see, DNA pattern made by the elliptical orbits, science lies, created by the two stars as they rotate, make around each other. They believe Sirius to be the axis of the universe. And it is, because it's attached back into the centre of the universe. The axis mundi. It's the two ends of the Milky Way we're going to talk to. I know you haven't connected this yet. It's pretty tricky, but we're going to get into that later. The DNA, this is the DNA, see this pattern here, which is basically inside the Milky Way as well. It's the helix. So you've got to imagine that's the heavenly symbol. This is our creation symbol in here, but we don't see this, of course. It's all metaphysical. But this is happening in our realm. What's happening between the capacitor plates of the tropics, the dielectric. It's the recycling system of Earth. Male and female are it's deep. I've done it in earlier videos. We won't go too far into that one right now. Okay, Sirius. They believe Sirius to be the axis of the universe. And from it all, matter and all souls are produced in a great spiral motion. You've got the spiral of the Milky Way, remember? We're talking about that. The whole thing's about that. Right, the helix. Okay, we come down here. What have we got? Oops, I put the pen over that, can't quite read it. Anyway, someone's got, the Romans celebrated the heliacal setting of Sirius around April the 25th. So the setting on the western horizon, April the 25th. And that's basically what's going on, right? Sirius is going down. We're about to lose Orion's belt. Very sad to lose this Orion's belt going to the horizon, because I know all the divinity involved with this. So when I see it going down, I know we're going down into Hades for 3 months before Orion comes back up again. Delve into that later. Ptolemy, here's an interesting one, of Alexandria, mapped the stars in book 7 and 8 of his Alchemist, in which he used Sirius as the location for the globe's central meridian, because it's connected to here. That's the centre. We're going to get into the centre line here, where the sun is at the equinox. We're going to get into this soon in the next couple of videos. Why? He's claiming it's the centre, and your silly science is trying to tell you the location of the globe's central meridian. No, nothing to do with it. So it's associated with the centre of our tropical region where we see the sun, which is also connected to the centre of creation in here. Because this, remember this ecliptic plane, the tropics, is the ecliptic plane around the black hole of creation back here, beyond the event horizon. Connection here, see, the Milky Way is connected, one end to the other. He curiously depicted it as one of the 6 red coloured stars. The other 5 are class M and K stars, such as Arcturus and Betelgeuse. So, in which he used Sirius as the location for the god's central meridian. For the yeah, it could be God. I said gods then, but science has got globe. It should be God's central meridian. He curiously depicted it as one of the 6 red-coloured stars. So they misinterpret everything. See, that's blue. It's connected to the red star Antares. We're going to get into. Chinese. In Chinese astrology, the star is known as the star of the celestial wolf. Several cultures also associate the star with a bow and arrow. We delved in that a bit earlier on, didn't we? The ancient Chinese bow and arrow, you go back to the Iliad. That's all about the bow and arrow, because the whole Iliad story is about this tropical gap. Like I drew before, the bow between the two fields, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and the celestial gap where the magnetic field is direct, straight, curved both sides, creates the bow shape. The Iliad is all about what's going on in here, a celestial tale told for the common man. All they read is a violent story, but it's celestial. It's physics, allegory. Several cultures also associated the star with the bow and arrow. The ancient Chinese visualized a large bow and an arrow across the southern sky, formed by the constellation of Puppis and Canis Major. In this, the arrow tip is pointed at the wolf star. Okay, there's the wolf star. The arrow point is pointing at that. So I was trying to figure out what the arrow meant in the Iliad. I couldn't quite figure it out, but I'm starting to understand it all now. You've got to understand the shield. Like, where's the picture here? This system of the shield. Understanding what happens if you fire an arrow at a shield like that. If you don't hit it dead center, it doesn't work. It'll just fling off the shield. Well, it's similar to this situation here, because we're going to be discussing this alignment between the tropics. And when the alignment's not correct, the arrow will be flung off. You will not receive the benefits of your celestial alignment. There has to be the bang on alignment. But that's also connected with your psychological state at the time as well. Otherwise you do not get it. It'll pass by. You stay ignorant, you reincarnate, and you have another go next time. This is what reincarnation is all about. Once you are woken by the system, had your alignment, and been enlightened, you don't go through your reincarnation anymore. This is why you've been given, you're immortal. You become immortal, godlike, and then you ascend. Others will just go through the recycling system to have another go next time. They don't come back as this exact same image of something. They might come back as an animal. This is going to kill Christians. You might go through the whole animal kingdom before you come back as a man if you're really ignorant. But if you're nearly there, you may come back as a man and have another go, another human. Right. A similar association is depicted at the temple of Hathor in Dendera, where the goddess Satet has drawn her arrow at Hathor, Sirius, known as Tyr, T-I-R. The star was portrayed as the arrow itself in later Persian cultures. You've got to understand, one end of the arrow is back in here. Creation. And they're calling it Tyr, T-I-R. That's Chinese. Now you come to the mythological story of Tyr Nanog, the Irish mythological story. That's all about the centre here too. Spelt the same way. T-I-R. The Tyr. About